1 Kings 11. But King Solomon loved many foreign women, as well as the daughter of Pharaoh, women of the Moabites, Ammonites, Edomites, Sidonians, and Hittites. But King Solomon loved many strange women, together with the daughter of Pharaoh, women of the Moabites, Ammonites, Edomites, Sidonians, and Hittites. From the nations of whom the Lord had said to the children of Israel, "You shall not intermarry with them, nor they with you. Surely they will turn away your hearts after their gods." Solomon clung to these in love. Of the nations concerning which the Lord said unto the children of Israel, "Ye shall not go into them, neither shall they come in unto you, for surely they will turn away your heart after their gods," Solomon clave unto these in love. And he had 700 wives, princesses, and 300 concubines, and his wives turned away his heart. And he had 700 wives, princesses, and 300 concubines, and his wives turned away his heart. For it was so, when Solomon was old, that his wives turned his heart after other gods, and his heart was not loyal to the Lord his God, as was the heart of his father David. For it came to pass, when Solomon was old, that his wives turned away his heart after other gods, and his heart was not perfect with the Lord his God, as was the heart of David his father. For Solomon went after Ashtoreth the goddess of the Sidonians, and after Milcom the abomination of the Ammonites. For Solomon went after Ashtoreth the goddess of the Sidonians, and after Milcom the abomination of the Ammonites. Solomon did evil in the sight of the Lord, and did not fully follow the Lord, as did his father David. And Solomon did evil in the sight of the Lord, and went not fully after the Lord, as did David his father. Then Solomon built a high place for Chemosh the abomination of Moab, on the hill that is east of Jerusalem, and for Molech the abomination of the people of Ammon. Then did Solomon build an high place for Chemosh, the abomination of Moab, in the hill that is before Jerusalem, and for Molech, the abomination of the children of Ammon. And he did likewise for all his foreign wives, who burned incense and sacrificed to their gods. And likewise did he for all his strange wives, which burnt incense and sacrificed unto their gods. So the Lord became angry with Solomon, because his heart had turned from the Lord God of Israel, who had appeared to him twice. And the Lord was angry with Solomon, because his heart was turned from the Lord God of Israel, which had appeared unto him twice. And had commanded him concerning this thing, that he should not go after other gods, but he did not keep what the Lord had commanded. And had commanded him concerning this thing, that he should not go after other gods, but he kept not that which the Lord commanded. Therefore the Lord said to Solomon, "Because you have done this, and have not kept my covenant and my statutes, which I have commanded you, I will surely tear the kingdom away from you and give it to your servant." Wherefore the Lord said unto Solomon, "Forasmuch as this is done of thee, and thou hast not kept my covenant and my statutes, which I have commanded thee, I will surely rend the kingdom from thee, and will give it to thy servant. Nevertheless I will not do it in your days, for the sake of your father David, I will tear it out of the hand of your son. Notwithstanding in thy days I will not do it for David thy father's sake, but I will rend it out of the hand of thy son. However I will not tear away the whole kingdom, I will give one tribe to your son for the sake of my servant David, and for the sake of Jerusalem which I have chosen. Howbeit I will not rend away all the kingdom, but will give one tribe to thy son for David my servant's sake, and for Jerusalem's sake which I have chosen." Now the Lord raised up an adversary against Solomon, Hadad the Edomite, he was a descendant of the king in Edom. And the Lord stirred up an adversary unto Solomon, Hadad the Edomite, he was of the king's seed in Edom. For it happened, when David was in Edom, and Joab the commander of the army had gone up to bury the slain, after he had killed every male in Edom. For it came to pass, when David was in Edom, and Joab the captain of the host was gone up to bury the slain, after he had smitten every male in Edom. Because for 6 months Joab remained there with all Israel, until he had cut down every male in Edom. For 6 months did Joab remain there with all Israel, until he had cut off every male in Edom. That Hadad fled to go to Egypt, he and certain Edomites of his father's servants with him. Hadad was still a little child. That Hadad fled, he and certain Edomites of his father's servants with him, to go into Egypt, Hadad being yet a little child. Then they arose from Midian and came to Paran, and they took men with them from Paran and came to Egypt, to Pharaoh king of Egypt, who gave him a house, apportioned food for him, and gave him land. And they arose out of Midian, and came to Paran, and they took men with them out of Paran, and they came to Egypt, unto Pharaoh king of Egypt, which gave him an house, and appointed him victuals, and gave him land. And Hadad found great favor in the sight of Pharaoh, so that he gave him as wife the sister of his own wife, that is, the sister of Queen Tahpenes. And Hadad found great favor in the sight of Pharaoh, so that he gave him to wife the sister of his own wife, the sister of Tahpenes the queen. Then the sister of Tahpenes bore him Genubath his son, whom Tahpenes weaned in Pharaoh's house. And Genubath was in Pharaoh's household among the sons of Pharaoh. And the sister of Tahpenes bare him Genubath his son, whom Tahpenes weaned in Pharaoh's house, and Genubath was in Pharaoh's household among the sons of Pharaoh. So when Hadad heard in Egypt that David rested with his fathers, and that Joab the commander of the army was dead, Hadad said to Pharaoh, Let me depart, that I may go to my own country. And when Hadad heard in Egypt that David slept with his fathers, and that Joab the captain of the host was dead, Hadad said to Pharaoh, Let me depart, that I may go to mine own country. Then Pharaoh said to him, But what have you lacked with me, that suddenly you seek to go to your own country? So he answered, Nothing, but do let me go anyway. Then Pharaoh said unto him, But what hast thou lacked with me, that, behold, thou seekest to go to thine own country? And he answered, Nothing, howbeit let me go in any wise. And God raised up another adversary against him, Rezon the son of Eliada, who had fled from his lord, Hadadezer king of Zobah. And God stirred him up another adversary, Rezon the son of Eliada, which fled from his lord Hadadezer king of Zobah. So he gathered men to him and became captain over a band of raiders, when David killed those of Zobah. And they went to Damascus and dwelt there, and reigned in Damascus. And he gathered men unto him, and became captain over a band, when David slew them of Zobah, and they went to Damascus, and dwelt therein, and reigned in Damascus. He was an adversary of Israel all the days of Solomon, besides the trouble that Hadad caused, and he abhorred Israel, and reigned over Syria. And he was an adversary to Israel all the days of Solomon, beside the mischief that Hadad did, and he abhorred Israel, and reigned over Syria. Then Solomon's servant, Jeroboam the son of Nebat, an Ephraimite from Zereda, whose mother's name was Zeruiah, a widow, also rebelled against the king. And Jeroboam the son of Nebat, an Ephrathite of Zereda, Solomon's servant, whose mother's name was Zeruiah, a widow woman, even he lifted up his hand against the king. And this is what caused him to rebel against the king. Solomon had built the Millo and repaired the damages to the city of David his father. And this was the cause that he lifted up his hand against the king. Solomon built Millo, and repaired the breaches of the city of David his father. The man Jeroboam was a mighty man of valor, and Solomon, seeing that the young man was industrious, made him the officer over all the labor force of the house of Joseph. And the man Jeroboam was a mighty man of valor, and Solomon seeing the young man that he was industrious, he made him ruler over all the charge of the house of Joseph. Now it happened at that time, when Jeroboam went out of Jerusalem, that the prophet Ahijah the Shilonite met him on the way, and he had clothed himself with a new garment, and the two were alone in the field. And it came to pass at that time when Jeroboam went out of Jerusalem, that the prophet Ahijah the Shilonite found him in the way, and he had clad himself with a new garment, and they two were alone in the field. Then Ahijah took hold of the new garment that was on him, and tore it into 12 pieces. And Ahijah caught the new garment that was on him, and rent it in 12 pieces. And he said to Jeroboam, Take for yourself 10 pieces, for thus says the Lord, the God of Israel, Behold, I will tear the kingdom out of the hand of Solomon and will give 10 tribes to you. And he said to Jeroboam, Take thee 10 pieces, for thus saith the Lord, the God of Israel, Behold, I will rend the kingdom out of the hand of Solomon, and will give 10 tribes to thee. But he shall have 1 tribe for the sake of my servant David, and for the sake of Jerusalem, the city which I have chosen out of all the tribes of Israel. But he shall have 1 tribe for my servant David's sake, and for Jerusalem's sake, the city which I have chosen out of all the tribes of Israel. Because they have forsaken me, and worshipped Ashtoreth the goddess of the Sidonians, Chemosh the god of the Moabites, and Milcom the god of the people of Ammon, and have not walked in my ways to do what is right in my eyes and keep my statutes and my judgments, as did his father David. Because that they have forsaken me, and have worshipped Ashtoreth the goddess of the Zidonians, Chemosh the god of the Moabites, and Milcom the god of the children of Ammon, and have not walked in my ways, to do that which is right in mine eyes, and to keep my statutes and my judgments, as did David his father. However, I will not take the whole kingdom out of his hand, because I have made him ruler all the days of his life for the sake of my servant David, whom I chose because he kept my commandments and my statutes. Howbeit I will not take the whole kingdom out of his hand, but I will make him prince all the days of his life for David my servant's sake, whom I chose, because he kept my commandments and my statutes. But I will take the kingdom out of his son's hand and give it to you 10 tribes. But I will take the kingdom out of his son's hand, and will give it unto thee, even 10 tribes. And to his son I will give 1 tribe, that my servant David may always have a lamp before me in Jerusalem, the city which I have chosen for myself, to put my name there. And unto his son will I give 1 tribe, that David my servant may have a light alway before me in Jerusalem, the city which I have chosen me to put my name there. So I will take you, and you shall reign over all your heart desires, and you shall be king over Israel. And I will take thee, and thou shalt reign according to all that thy soul desireth, and shalt be king over Israel. Then it shall be, if you heed all that I command you, walk in my ways, and do what is right in my sight, to keep my statutes and my commandments, as my servant David did, then I will be with you and build for you an enduring house, as I built for David, and will give Israel to you. And it shall be, if thou wilt hearken unto all that I command thee, and wilt walk in my ways, and do that is right in my sight, to keep my statutes and my commandments, as David my servant did, that I will be with thee, and build thee a sure house, as I built for David, and will give Israel unto thee. And I will afflict the descendants of David because of this, but not forever. And I will for this afflict the seed of David, but not forever. Solomon therefore sought to kill Jeroboam. But Jeroboam arose and fled to Egypt, to Shishak king of Egypt, and was in Egypt until the death of Solomon. Solomon sought therefore to kill Jeroboam. And Jeroboam arose, and fled into Egypt, unto Shishak king of Egypt, and was in Egypt until the death of Solomon. Now the rest of the acts of Solomon, all that he did, and his wisdom, are they not written in the book of the acts of Solomon? And the rest of the acts of Solomon, and all that he did, and his wisdom, are they not written in the book of the acts of Solomon? And the period that Solomon reigned in Jerusalem over all Israel was 40 years. And the time that Solomon reigned in Jerusalem over all Israel was 40 years. Then Solomon rested with his fathers, and was buried in the city of David his father. And Rehoboam his son reigned in his place. And Solomon slept with his fathers, and was buried in the city of David his father, and Rehoboam his son reigned in his stead. 1 Kings 12. And Rehoboam went to Shechem, for all Israel had gone to Shechem to make him king. And Rehoboam went to Shechem, for all Israel were come to Shechem to make him king. So it happened, when Jeroboam the son of Nebat heard it, he was still in Egypt, for he had fled from the presence of King Solomon and had been dwelling in Egypt. And it came to pass, when Jeroboam the son of Nebat, who was yet in Egypt, heard of it, for he was fled from the presence of King Solomon, and Jeroboam dwelt in Egypt winky face, that they sent and called him. Then Jeroboam and the whole assembly of Israel came and spoke to Rehoboam, saying, that they sent and called him. And Jeroboam and all the congregation of Israel came, and spake unto Rehoboam, saying, your father made our yoke heavy, now therefore, lighten the burdensome service of your father, and his heavy yoke which he put on us, and we will serve you. Thy father made our yoke grievous, now therefore make thou the grievous service of thy father, and his heavy yoke which he put upon us, lighter, and we will serve thee. So he said to them, depart for 3 days, then come back to me. And the people departed. And he said unto them, depart yet for 3 days, then come again to me. And the people departed. Then King Rehoboam consulted the elders who stood before his father Solomon while he still lived, and he said, how do you advise me to answer these people? And King Rehoboam consulted with the old men, that stood before Solomon his father while he yet lived, and said, how do ye advise that I may answer this people? And they spoke to him, saying, if you will be a servant to these people today, and serve them, and answer them, and speak good words to them, then they will be your servants forever. And they spake unto him, saying, If thou wilt be a servant unto this people this day, and wilt serve them, and answer them, and speak good words to them, then they will be thy servants forever. But he rejected the advice which the elders had given him, and consulted the young men who had grown up with him, who stood before him. But he forsook the counsel of the old men, which they had given him, and consulted with the young men that were grown up with him, and which stood before him. And he said to them, What advice do you give? How should we answer this people who have spoken to me, saying, Lighten the yoke which your father put on us? And he said unto them, What counsel give ye that we may answer this people, who have spoken to me, saying, Make the yoke which thy father did put upon us lighter? Then the young men who had grown up with him spoke to him, saying, Thus you should speak to this people who have spoken to you, saying, Your father made our yoke heavy, but you make it lighter on us. Thus you shall say to them, My little finger shall be thicker than my father's waist. And the young men that were grown up with him spake unto him, saying, Thus shalt thou speak unto this people that spake unto thee, saying, Thy father made our yoke heavy, but make thou it lighter unto us. Thus shalt thou say unto them, My little finger shall be thicker than my father's loins. And now, whereas my father put a heavy yoke on you, I will add to your yoke. My father chastised you with whips, but I will chastise you with scourges. And now whereas my father did lade you with a heavy yoke, I will add to your yoke. My father hath chastised you with whips, but I will chastise you with scorpions. So Jeroboam and all the people came to Rehoboam the third day, as the king had directed, saying, Come back to me the third day. So Jeroboam and all the people came to Rehoboam the third day, as the king had appointed, saying, Come to me again the third day. Then the king answered the people roughly, and rejected the advice which the elders had given him. And the king answered the people roughly, and forsook the old men's counsel that they gave him. And he spoke to them according to the advice of the young men, saying, My father made your yoke heavy, but I will add to your yoke. My father chastised you with whips, but I will chastise you with scourges. And spake to them after the counsel of the young men, saying, My father made your yoke heavy, and I will add to your yoke. My father also chastised you with whips, but I will chastise you with scorpions. So the king did not listen to the people, for the turn of events was from the Lord, that he might fulfill his word, which the Lord had spoken by Ahijah the Shilonite to Jeroboam the son of Nebat. Wherefore the king hearkened not unto the people, for the cause was from the Lord, that he might perform his saying, which the Lord spake by Ahijah the Shilonite unto Jeroboam the son of Nebat. Now when all Israel saw that the king did not listen to them, the people answered the king, saying, What share have we in David? We have no inheritance in the son of Jesse. To your tents, O Israel! Now, see to your own house, O David! So Israel departed to their tents. So when all Israel saw that the king hearkened not unto them, the people answered the king, saying, What portion have we in David? Neither have we inheritance in the son of Jesse. To your tents, O Israel! Now see to thine own house, David! So Israel departed unto their tents. But Rehoboam reigned over the children of Israel who dwelt in the cities of Judah. But as for the children of Israel which dwelt in the cities of Judah, Rehoboam reigned over them. Then King Rehoboam sent Adoram, who was in charge of the revenue, but all Israel stoned him with stones, and he died. Therefore King Rehoboam mounted his chariot in haste to flee to Jerusalem. Then King Rehoboam sent Adoram, who was over the tribute, and all Israel stoned him with stones, that he died. Therefore King Rehoboam made speed to get him up to his chariot, to flee to Jerusalem. So Israel has been in rebellion against the house of David to this day. So Israel rebelled against the house of David unto this day. Now it came to pass when all Israel heard that Jeroboam had come back, they sent for him and called him to the congregation, and made him king over all Israel. There was none who followed the house of David, but the tribe of Judah only. And it came to pass, when all Israel heard that Jeroboam was come again, that they sent and called him unto the congregation, and made him king over all Israel. There was none that followed the house of David, but the tribe of Judah only. And when Rehoboam came to Jerusalem, he assembled all the house of Judah with the tribe of Benjamin, 180,000 chosen men who were warriors, to fight against the house of Israel, that he might restore the kingdom to Rehoboam the son of Solomon. And when Rehoboam was come to Jerusalem, he assembled all the house of Judah, with the tribe of Benjamin, and 180,000 chosen men, which were warriors, to fight against the house of Israel, to bring the kingdom again to Rehoboam the son of Solomon. But the word of God came to Shemaiah the man of God, saying. But the word of God came unto Shemaiah the man of God, saying. Speak to Rehoboam the son of Solomon, king of Judah, to all the house of Judah and Benjamin, and to the rest of the people, saying. Speak unto Rehoboam, the son of Solomon, king of Judah, and unto all the house of Judah and Benjamin, and to the remnant of the people, saying. Thus says the Lord, you shall not go up nor fight against your brethren the children of Israel. Let every man return to his house, for this thing is from me. Therefore they obeyed the word of the Lord, and turned back, according to the word of the Lord. Thus saith the Lord, ye shall not go up, nor fight against your brethren the children of Israel, return every man to his house, for this thing is from me. They hearkened therefore to the word of the Lord, and returned to depart, according to the word of the Lord. Then Jeroboam built Shechem in the mountains of Ephraim, and dwelt there. Also he went out from there and built Peniel. Then Jeroboam built Shechem in Mount Ephraim, and dwelt therein, and went out from thence, and built Peniel. And Jeroboam said in his heart, now the kingdom may return to the house of David. And Jeroboam said in his heart, now shall the kingdom return to the house of David. If these people go up to offer sacrifices in the house of the Lord at Jerusalem, then the heart of this people will turn back to their lord, Rehoboam king of Judah, and they will kill me and go back to Rehoboam king of Judah. If this people go up to do sacrifice in the house of the Lord at Jerusalem, then shall the heart of this people turn again unto their lord, even unto Rehoboam king of Judah, and they shall kill me, and go again to Rehoboam king of Judah. Therefore the king asked advice, made 2 calves of gold, and said to the people, it is too much for you to go up to Jerusalem. Here are your gods, O Israel, which brought you up from the land of Egypt. Whereupon the king took counsel, and made 2 calves of gold, and said unto them, it is too much for you to go up to Jerusalem, behold thy gods, O Israel, which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. And he set up one in Bethel, and the other he put in Dan. And he set the one in Bethel, and the other put he in Dan. Now this thing became a sin, for the people went to worship before the one as far as Dan. And this thing became a sin, for the people went to worship before the one even unto Dan. He made shrines on the high places, and made priests from every class of people, who were not of the sons of Levi. And he made an house of high places, and made priests of the lowest of the people, which were not of the sons of Levi. Jeroboam ordained a feast on the 15th day of the 8th month, like the feast that was in Judah, and offered sacrifices on the altar. So he did at Bethel, sacrificing to the calves that he had made. And at Bethel he installed the priests of the high places which he had made. And Jeroboam ordained a feast in the 8th month, on the 15th day of the month, like unto the feast that is in Judah, and he offered upon the altar. So did he in Bethel, sacrificing unto the calves that he had made, and he placed in Bethel the priests of the high places which he had made. So he made offerings on the altar which he had made at Bethel on the 15th day of the 8th month, in the month which he had devised in his own heart. And he ordained a feast for the children of Israel, and offered sacrifices on the altar and burned incense. So he offered upon the altar which he had made in Bethel the 15th day of the 8th month, even in the month which he had devised of his own heart, and ordained a feast unto the children of Israel, and he offered upon the altar, and burnt incense. Matthew 13. On the same day Jesus went out of the house and sat by the sea. The same day went Jesus out of the house, and sat by the seaside. And great multitudes were gathered together to him, so that he got into a boat and sat, and the whole multitude stood on the shore. And great multitudes were gathered together unto him, so that he went into a ship, and sat, and the whole multitude stood on the shore. Then he spoke many things to them in parables, saying, Behold, a sower went out to sow. And he spake many things unto them in parables, saying, Behold, a sower went forth to sow. And as he sowed, some seed fell by the wayside, and the birds came and devoured them. And when he sowed, some seeds fell by the wayside, and the fowls came and devoured them up. Some fell on stony places, where they did not have much earth, and they immediately sprang up because they had no depth of earth. Some fell upon stony places, where they had not much earth, and forthwith they sprung up, because they had no deepness of earth. But when the sun was up they were scorched, and because they had no root they withered away. And when the sun was up, they were scorched, and because they had no root, they withered away. And some fell among thorns, and the thorns sprang up and choked them. And some fell among thorns, and the thorns sprung up, and choked them. But others fell on good ground and yielded a crop, some 100-fold, some 60, some 30. But other fell into good ground, and brought forth fruit, some 100-fold, some 60-fold, some 30-fold. He who has ears to hear, let him hear. Who hath ears to hear, let him hear. And the disciples came and said to him, Why do you speak to them in parables? And the disciples came, and said unto him, Why speakest thou unto them in parables? He answered and said to them, Because it has been given to you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it has not been given. He answered and said unto them, Because it is given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it is not given. For whoever has, to him more will be given, and he will have abundance, but whoever does not have, even what he has will be taken away from him. For whosoever hath, to him shall be given, and he shall have more abundance, but whosoever hath not, from him shall be taken away even that he hath. Therefore I speak to them in parables, because seeing they do not see, and hearing they do not hear, nor do they understand. Therefore speak I to them in parables, because they seeing see not, and hearing they hear not, neither do they understand. And in them the prophecy of Isaiah is fulfilled, which says, Hearing you will hear and shall not understand, and seeing you will see and not perceive. And in them is fulfilled the prophecy of Esaias, which saith, By hearing ye shall hear, and shall not understand, and seeing ye shall see, and shall not perceive. For the hearts of this people have grown dull. Their ears are hard of hearing, and their eyes they have closed, lest they should see with their eyes and hear with their ears, lest they should understand with their hearts and turn, so that I should heal them. For this people's heart is waxed gross, and their ears are dull of hearing, and their eyes they have closed, lest at any time they should see with their eyes and hear with their ears, and should understand with their heart, and should be converted, and I should heal them. But blessed are your eyes for they see, and your ears for they hear. But blessed are your eyes, for they see, and your ears, for they hear. For assuredly, I say to you that many prophets and righteous men desired to see what you see, and did not see it, and to hear what you hear, and did not hear it. For verily I say unto you, that many prophets and righteous men have desired to see those things which ye see, and have not seen them, and to hear those things which ye hear, and have not heard them. Therefore hear the parable of the sower. Hear ye therefore the parable of the sower. When anyone hears the word of the kingdom, and does not understand it, then the wicked one comes and snatches away what was sown in his heart. This is he who received seed by the wayside. When any one heareth the word of the kingdom, and understandeth it not, then cometh the wicked one, and catcheth away that which was sown in his heart. This is he which received seed by the wayside. But he who received the seed on stony places, this is he who hears the word and immediately receives it with joy. But he that received the seed into stony places, the same is he that heareth the word, and anon with joy receiveth it. Yet he has no root in himself, but endures only for a while. For when tribulation or persecution arises because of the word, immediately he stumbles. Yet hath he not root in himself, but dureth for a while. For when tribulation or persecution ariseth because of the word, by and by he is offended. Now he who received seed among the thorns is he who hears the word, and the cares of this world and the deceitfulness of riches choke the word, and he becomes unfruitful. He also that received seed among the thorns is he that heareth the word, and the care of this world, and the deceitfulness of riches, choke the word, and he becometh unfruitful. But he who received seed on the good ground is he who hears the word and understands it, who indeed bears fruit and produces, some 100-fold, some 60, some 30. But he that received seed into the good ground is he that heareth the word, and understandeth it, which also beareth fruit, and bringeth forth, some 100-fold, some 60, some 30. Another parable he put forth to them, saying, The kingdom of heaven is like a man who sowed good seed in his field. Another parable put he forth unto them, saying, The kingdom of heaven is likened unto a man which sowed good seed in his field. But while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat and went his way. But while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat, and went his way. But when the grain had sprouted and produced a crop, then the tares also appeared. But when the blade was sprung up, and brought forth fruit, then appeared the tares also. So the servants of the owner came and said to him, Sir, did you not sow good seed in your field? How then does it have tares? So the servants of the householder came and said unto him, Sir, didst not thou sow good seed in thy field? From whence then hath it tares? He said to them, An enemy has done this. The servants said to him, Do you want us then to go and gather them up? He said unto them, An enemy hath done this. The servants said unto him, Wilt thou then that we go and gather them up? But he said, No, lest while you gather up the tares you also uproot the wheat with them. But he said, Nay, lest while ye gather up the tares, ye root up also the wheat with them. Let both grow together until the harvest, and at the time of harvest I will say to the reapers, First gather together the tares and bind them in bundles to burn them, but gather the wheat into my barn. Let both grow together until the harvest, and in the time of harvest I will say to the reapers, Gather ye together first the tares, and bind them in bundles to burn them, but gather the wheat into my barn. Another parable he put forth to them, saying, The kingdom of heaven is like a mustard seed, which a man took and sowed in his field. Another parable put he forth unto them, saying, The kingdom of heaven is like to a grain of mustard seed, which a man took, and sowed in his field. Which indeed is the least of all the seeds, but when it is grown it is greater than the herbs and becomes a tree, so that the birds of the air come and nest in its branches. Which indeed is the least of all seeds, but when it is grown, it is the greatest among herbs, and becometh a tree, so that the birds of the air come and lodge in the branches thereof. Another parable he spoke to them, The kingdom of heaven is like leaven, which a woman took and hid in 3 measures of meal till it was all leavened. Another parable spake he unto them, The kingdom of heaven is like unto leaven, which a woman took, and hid in 3 measures of meal, till the whole was leavened. All these things Jesus spoke to the multitude in parables, and without a parable he did not speak to them. All these things spake Jesus unto the multitude in parables, and without a parable spake he not unto them. That it might be fulfilled which was spoken by the prophet, saying, I will open my mouth in parables, I will utter things kept secret from the foundation of the world. That it might be fulfilled which was spoken by the prophet, saying, I will open my mouth in parables, I will utter things which have been kept secret from the foundation of the world. Then Jesus sent the multitude away and went into the house. And his disciples came to him, saying, Explain to us the parable of the tares of the field. Then Jesus sent the multitude away, and went into the house, and his disciples came unto him, saying, Declare unto us the parable of the tares of the field. He answered and said to them, He who sows the good seed is the Son of Man. He answered and said unto them, He that soweth the good seed is the Son of Man. The field is the world, the good seeds are the sons of the kingdom, but the tares are the sons of the wicked one. The field is the world, the good seed are the children of the kingdom, but the tares are the children of the wicked one. The enemy who sowed them is the devil, the harvest is the end of the age, and the reapers are the angels. The enemy that sowed them is the devil, the harvest is the end of the world, and the reapers are the angels. Therefore as the tares are gathered and burned in the fire, so it will be at the end of this age. As therefore the tares are gathered and burned in the fire, so shall it be in the end of this world. The Son of Man will send out his angels, and they will gather out of his kingdom all things that offend, and those who practice lawlessness. The Son of Man shall send forth his angels, and they shall gather out of his kingdom all things that offend, and them which do iniquity, and will cast them into the furnace of fire. There will be wailing and gnashing of teeth. And shall cast them into a furnace of fire, there shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth. Then the righteous will shine forth as the sun in the kingdom of their Father. He who has ears to hear, let him hear. Then shall the righteous shine forth as the sun in the kingdom of their Father. Who hath ears to hear, let him hear. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like treasure hidden in a field, which a man found and hid, and for joy over it he goes and sells all that he has and buys that field. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto treasure hid in a field, the which when a man hath found, he hideth, and for joy thereof goeth and selleth all that he hath, and buyeth that field. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant seeking beautiful pearls. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a merchantman, seeking goodly pearls. Who, when he had found one pearl of great price, went and sold all that he had and bought it. Who, when he had found one pearl of great price, went and sold all that he had, and bought it. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a dragnet that was cast into the sea and gathered some of every kind. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a net, that was cast into the sea, and gathered of every kind. Which, when it was full, they drew to shore, and they sat down and gathered the good into vessels, but threw the bad away. Which, when it was full, they drew to shore, and sat down, and gathered the good into vessels, but cast the bad away. So it will be at the end of the age. The angels will come forth, separate the wicked from among the just. So shall it be at the end of the world, the angels shall come forth, and sever the wicked from among the just, and cast them into the furnace of fire. There will be wailing and gnashing of teeth. And shall cast them into the furnace of fire, there shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth. Jesus said to them, Have you understood all these things? They said to him, Yes, Lord. Jesus saith unto them, Have ye understood all these things? They say unto him, Yea, Lord. Then he said to them, Therefore every scribe instructed concerning the kingdom of heaven is like a householder who brings out of his treasure things new and old. Then said he unto them, Therefore every scribe which is instructed unto the kingdom of heaven is like unto a man that is an householder, which bringeth forth out of his treasure things new and old. Now it came to pass, when Jesus had finished these parables, that he departed from there. And it came to pass, that when Jesus had finished these parables, he departed thence. When he had come to his own country, he taught them in their synagogue, so that they were astonished and said, Where did this man get this wisdom and these mighty works? And when he was come into his own country, he taught them in their synagogue, insomuch that they were astonished, and said, Whence hath this man this wisdom, and these mighty works? Is this not the carpenter's son? Is not his mother called Mary? And his brothers James, Joses, Simon, and Judas? Is not this the carpenter's son? Is not his mother called Mary? And his brethren, James, and Joses, and Simon, and Judas? And his sisters, are they not all with us? Where then did this man get all these things? And his sisters, are they not all with us? Whence then hath this man all these things? So they were offended at him. But Jesus said to them, A prophet is not without honor except in his own country and in his own house. And they were offended in him. But Jesus said unto them, A prophet is not without honor, save in his own country, and in his own house. Now he did not do many mighty works there because of their unbelief. And he did not many mighty works there because of their unbelief. Matthew 14. At that time Herod the Tetrarch heard the report about Jesus. At that time Herod the Tetrarch heard of the fame of Jesus, and said to his servants, This is John the Baptist, he is risen from the dead, and therefore these powers are at work in him. And said unto his servants, This is John the Baptist, he is risen from the dead, and therefore mighty works do shew forth themselves in him. For Herod had laid hold of John and bound him, and put him in prison for the sake of Herodias, his brother Philip's wife. For Herod had laid hold on John, and bound him, and put him in prison for Herodias' sake, his brother Philip's wife. Because John had said to him, It is not lawful for you to have her. For John said unto him, It is not lawful for thee to have her. And although he wanted to put him to death, he feared the multitude, because they counted him as a prophet. And when he would have put him to death, he feared the multitude, because they counted him as a prophet. But when Herod's birthday was celebrated, the daughter of Herodias danced before them and pleased Herod. But when Herod's birthday was kept, the daughter of Herodias danced before them, and pleased Herod. Therefore he promised with an oath to give her whatever she might ask. Whereupon he promised with an oath to give her whatsoever she would ask. So she, having been prompted by her mother, said, Give me John the Baptist's head here on a platter. And she, being before instructed of her mother, said, Give me here John Baptist's head in a charger. And the king was sorry, nevertheless, because of the oaths and because of those who sat with him, he commanded it to be given to her. And the king was sorry, nevertheless for the oath's sake, and them which sat with him at meat, he commanded it to be given her. So he sent and had John beheaded in prison. And he sent, and beheaded John in the prison. And his head was brought on a platter and given to the girl, and she brought it to her mother. And his head was brought in a charger, and given to the damsel, and she brought it to her mother. Then his disciples came and took away the body and buried it, and went and told Jesus. And his disciples came, and took up the body, and buried it, and went and told Jesus. When Jesus heard it, he departed from there by boat to a deserted place by himself. But when the multitudes heard it, they followed him on foot from the cities. When Jesus heard of it, he departed thence by ship into a desert place apart, and when the people had heard thereof, they followed him on foot out of the cities. And when Jesus went out he saw a great multitude, and he was moved with compassion for them, and healed their sick. And Jesus went forth, and saw a great multitude, and was moved with compassion toward them, and he healed their sick. When it was evening, his disciples came to him, saying, This is a deserted place, and the hour is already late. Send the multitudes away, that they may go into the villages and buy themselves food. And when it was evening, his disciples came to him, saying, This is a desert place, and the time is now past, send the multitude away, that they may go into the villages, and buy themselves victuals. But Jesus said to them, They do not need to go away. You give them something to eat. But Jesus said unto them, They need not depart, give ye them to eat. And they said to him, We have here only 5 loaves and 2 fish. And they say unto him, We have here but 5 loaves, and 2 fishes. He said, Bring them here to me. He said, Bring them hither to me. Then he commanded the multitudes to sit down on the grass. And he took the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, and looking up to heaven, he blessed and broke and gave the loaves to the disciples, and the disciples gave to the multitudes. And he commanded the multitude to sit down on the grass, and took the 5 loaves, and the 2 fishes, and looking up to heaven, he blessed, and brake, and gave the loaves to his disciples, and the disciples to the multitude. So they all ate and were filled, and they took up 12 baskets full of the fragments that remained. And they did all eat, and were filled, and they took up of the fragments that remained 12 baskets full. Now those who had eaten were about 5,000 men, besides women and children. And they that had eaten were about 5,000 men, beside women and children. Immediately Jesus made his disciples get into the boat and go before him to the other side, while he sent the multitudes away. And straightway Jesus constrained his disciples to get into a ship, and to go before him unto the other side, while he sent the multitudes away. And when he had sent the multitudes away, he went up on the mountain by himself to pray. Now when evening came, he was alone there. And when he had sent the multitudes away, he went up into a mountain apart to pray, and when the evening was come, he was there alone. But the boat was now in the middle of the sea, tossed by the waves, for the wind was contrary. But the ship was now in the midst of the sea, tossed with waves, for the wind was contrary. Now in the 4th watch of the night Jesus went to them, walking on the sea. And in the 4th watch of the night Jesus went unto them, walking on the sea. And when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were troubled, saying, It is a ghost. And they cried out for fear. And when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were troubled, saying, It is a spirit, and they cried out for fear. But immediately Jesus spoke to them, saying, Be of good cheer. It is I, do not be afraid. But straightway Jesus spake unto them, saying, Be of good cheer, it is I, be not afraid. And Peter answered him and said, Lord, if it is you, command me to come to you on the water. And Peter answered him and said, Lord, if it be thou, bid me come unto thee on the water. So he said, Come. And when Peter had come down out of the boat, he walked on the water to go to Jesus. And he said, Come. And when Peter was come down out of the ship, he walked on the water, to go to Jesus. But when he saw that the wind was boisterous, he was afraid, and beginning to sink he cried out, saying, Lord, save me. But when he saw the wind boisterous, he was afraid, and beginning to sink, he cried, saying, Lord, save me. And immediately Jesus stretched out his hand and caught him, and said to him, O you of little faith, why did you doubt? And immediately Jesus stretched forth his hand, and caught him, and said unto him, O thou of little faith, wherefore didst thou doubt? And when they got into the boat, the wind ceased. And when they were come into the ship, the wind ceased. Then those who were in the boat came and worshipped him, saying, Truly you are the Son of God. Then they that were in the ship came and worshipped him, saying, Of a truth thou art the Son of God. When they had crossed over, they came to the land of Gennesaret. And when they were gone over, they came into the land of Gennesaret. And when the men of that place recognized him, they sent out into all that surrounding region, brought to him all who were sick. And when the men of that place had knowledge of him, they sent out into all that country round about, and brought unto him all that were diseased, and begged him that they might only touch the hem of his garment. And as many as touched it were made perfectly well. And besought him that they might only touch the hem of his garment, and as many as touched were made perfectly whole. Proverbs 1. The Proverbs of Solomon the son of David, king of Israel. The Proverbs of Solomon the son of David, king of Israel. To know wisdom and instruction, to perceive the words of understanding. To know wisdom and instruction, to perceive the words of understanding. To receive the instruction of wisdom, justice, judgment, and equity. To receive the instruction of wisdom, justice, and judgment, and equity. To give prudence to the simple, to the young man knowledge and discretion. To give subtlety to the simple, to the young man knowledge and discretion. A wise man will hear and increase learning, and a man of understanding will attain wise counsel. A wise man will hear, and will increase learning, and a man of understanding shall attain unto wise counsels. To understand a proverb and an enigma, the words of the wise and their riddles. To understand a proverb and the interpretation, the words of the wise, and their dark sayings. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. My son, hear the instruction of your father, and do not forsake the law of your mother. My son, hear the instruction of thy father, and forsake not the law of thy mother. For they will be a graceful ornament on your head, and chains about your neck. For they shall be an ornament of grace unto thy head, and chains about thy neck. My son, if sinners entice you, do not consent. My son, if sinners entice thee, consent thou not. If they say, Come with us, let us lie in wait to shed blood, let us lurk secretly for the innocent without cause. If they say, Come with us, let us lay wait for blood, let us lurk privily for the innocent without cause. Let us swallow them alive like Sheol, and whole, like those who go down to the pit. Let us swallow them up alive as the grave, and whole, as those that go down into the pit. We shall find all kinds of precious possessions, we shall fill our houses with spoil. We shall find all precious substance, we shall fill our houses with spoil. Cast in your lot among us, let us all have one purse. Cast in thy lot among us, let us all have one purse. My son, do not walk in the way with them, keep your foot from their path. My son, walk not thou in the way with them, refrain thy foot from their path. For their feet run to evil, and they make haste to shed blood. For their feet run to evil, and make haste to shed blood. Surely, in vain the net is spread in the sight of any bird. Surely in vain the net is spread in the sight of any bird. But they lie in wait for their own blood, they lurk secretly for their own lives. And they lay wait for their own blood, they lurk privily for their own lives. So are the ways of everyone who is greedy for gain, it takes away the life of its owners. So are the ways of every one that is greedy of gain, which taketh away the life of the owners thereof. Wisdom calls aloud outside, she raises her voice in the open squares. Wisdom crieth without, she uttereth her voice in the streets. She cries out in the chief concourses, at the openings of the gates in the city she speaks her words. She crieth in the chief place of concourse, in the openings of the gates, in the city she uttereth her words, saying, How long, you simple ones, will you love simplicity? For scorners delight in their scorning, and fools hate knowledge. How long, ye simple ones, will ye love simplicity? And the scorners delight in their scorning, and fools hate knowledge? Turn at my rebuke, surely I will pour out my spirit on you, I will make my words known to you. turn you at my reproof. Behold, I will pour out my spirit unto you, I will make known my words unto you. Because I have called and you refused, I have stretched out my hand and no one regarded. Because I have called, and you refused, I have stretched out my hand, and no man regarded. Because you disdained all my counsel, and would have none of my rebuke. But ye have set at naught all my counsel, and would none of my reproof. I also will laugh at your calamity, I will mock when your terror comes. I also will laugh at your calamity, I will mock when your fear cometh. When your terror comes like a storm, and your destruction comes like a whirlwind, when distress and anguish come upon you. When your fear cometh as desolation, and your destruction cometh as a whirlwind, when distress and anguish cometh upon you. Then they will call on me, but I will not answer, they will seek me diligently, but they will not find me. Then shall they call upon me, but I will not answer, they shall seek me early, but they shall not find me. Because they hated knowledge and did not choose the fear of the Lord. For that they hated knowledge, and did not choose the fear of the Lord. They would have none of my counsel and despised my every rebuke. They would none of my counsel, they despised all my reproof. Therefore they shall eat the fruit of their own way, and be filled to the full with their own fancies. Therefore shall they eat of the fruit of their own way, and be filled with their own devices. For the turning away of the simple will slay them, and the complacency of fools will destroy them. For the turning away of the simple shall slay them, and the prosperity of fools shall destroy them. But whoever listens to me will dwell safely, and will be secure, without fear of evil. But whoso hearkeneth unto me shall dwell safely, and shall be quiet from fear of evil.